Good morning, namaskar. Let us begin with a prayer. This is on page 150 of this book, The Universal Prayers. The first two shlokas on that page 150. These shlokas are from the Mahanirvana Tantra and offering our salutations to the Supreme Being. Om Paresha Prabho Sarvarupa Vinashin Aniruddeshya Sarvendriyagamya Satya Achintya Ksharavya Tattva Jagadbhasakadhisha Payad Tadekam Smaramaha Tadekam Bhajamaha Tadekam Jagatsakshirupam Namamaha Tadekam Nidhanam Niralambamisham Bhavambodipotam Sharanyam Vrajamaha. The translation is on page 151. O Lord Supreme, Thou art the imperishable, undefinable being, yet Thou appearest as all being, as all things. Thou art imperceptible to the senses, yet art Thou the very truth, incomprehensible and immutable. Thou art the all-pervading, hidden essence. Lord and light of the world, do Thou save us from harm. On Thee, the One, alone we meditate. To Thee, the One, alone we offer our worship. To Thee, the One alone, who art the witness of the universe, do we tender our salutations. In Thee, the One alone, who art our sole support, and the self-existent Lord, the vessel of safety in the ocean of existence, do we seek refuge. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Last time I had requested that if you have any questions, you might send them to me by email. As of this morning, I have not received even one question. Whether it is good or bad, I don't know. Still, there is time. If you have questions, you can send me. We shall address them next week also. We are concluding the teachings of Sri Krishna Bhagavan, the Lord, to Arjuna. The last instruction that Sri Krishna gave and the final answer that Arjuna gave to Sri Krishna in response to all the teachings and instructions that we shall study today. Bhagavan Sri Krishna placed all the options on the table. He mainly explained to Arjuna why he should do his duty, which was at that moment on the battlefield to fight with the Kauravas. By doing one's own duty, one fulfills one's destiny and one reaches the supreme goal of life by doing one's own duty as worship. All that we have seen before. And then Sri Krishna also gave a warning to Arjuna in this 18th chapter. He says, if out of your own egoism you disregard my teachings, it will not bode good for you. It will not be good for you. Na shroshasi yadahankaramashritya na shroshasi vimṛśyaitadaśeṣeṇa. If you don't listen to the advice that I have given, vimṛśyasi, you will perish. Dire warning Sri Krishna gives to Arjuna. And after all of that, in verse 63, chapter 18, as any good teacher will do, Sri Krishna gives freedom to the student Arjuna to decide what he wants to do with the teachings he has received. One can accept the teachings in whole or part, teachings given by the teacher, and one can decide to follow it or not. But all this has to be done after a very careful examination of the teachings. That is what Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna in Shloka 63, chapter 18. There the Bhagavan said, Iti te jñānamākhyātaṃ guhyādguhyataraṃ param guhyādguhyataraṃ mayā vimṛśyaitadaśeṣeṇa yathecchasi tathā kuru. Yathecchasi tathā kuru. As you please, you do. He said, Krishna does not say you have to follow my instructions, but it is left to you. I have given all these instructions to you. Idam guhyādguhyataraṃ jñānamākhyātaṃ. By me has been explained to you this most mysterious knowledge of the goal and purpose of life and how to reach it, of our duties in this world. Etadaśeṣeṇa vimṛśya. Aśeṣeṇa means completely, thoroughly examining. Vimṛśya means examining the teachings I have given. Yathecchasi tathā kuru. As you please, you decide what you want to do. That freedom is given. In our Sanatana Dharma tradition, freedom is given to the student, to anybody. After considering all the options available, one should examine all the options in any situation in life. And then one should decide carefully what option to follow, whether to accept the teachings in total or partially or not at all. That decision has to be made by the student. But after examining carefully all the instructions given by the teacher. That is what we see in the Bhagavad Gita. Freedom is given to the student. Then, yathecchasi tathā kuru. Afterwards, he gives 4 instructions, summarizing all the earlier instructions. The 4 instructions we studied in some detail in verse number 65. There he said, 65, 18, chapter 18, verse 65, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Because you are very dear to me, priyosi me. Sri Krishna is very loves Arjuna. And with great love and compassion, he gives the teachings. And then he says, if you follow these instructions, Mameva Eshyasi, you will reach me alone. The supreme goal is the Lord himself, Purushottama, Parama Purusha, or Jnani is self-knowledge, Brahma Jnana. that you will reach. If you follow these 4 instructions, simplified, these very same instructions were given in chapter 9, verse 34. The first line is the same in chapter 9, verse 34, and chapter 18, verse 65. Same line. There he repeats, Bhagavan repeats, Manmana Bhava, fix your mind on me always. Then we studied how to keep our mind fixed on God all the time. Mad Bhakta Bhava, be devoted to me. Devotion to God, as opposed to devotion to some other ideal, such as one's profession or one's family or money making. Those are people are devoted to those causes. They spend their whole energy and time to pursue that cause. But the highest thing that we have to do is to seek devotion to God. Mad Bhakto Bhava, Madhyaji Bhava. Whatever action you do it as yaga, yajna, offering to me. Why? Not because the Lord needs our action, but by offering our actions to God or to some higher ideal, one becomes free from attachment to that work and the fruit of that work. Then it is not binding. If we don't offer, if we do everything for ourselves, then we are bound by the result. And then we get into the loop. Karma, karma phala, karma, karma phala. The idea is to exit from that loop and reach the goal, which is either self-knowledge for jnanis or pure devotion for devotees. Madhyaji, therefore do everything as offering to me, all work, whatever you do, treat as offering. Any work that is not done as an offering is going to be binding. That we studied in the 3rd chapter. Chapter 3, shloka number 9, there Bhagavan said, whenever you do any action, you should do it as an offering, a yajna, sacrifice, not for oneself, in the larger interest. Then it is not binding. Any action that is done not as an offering, other than as yajna, is going to be binding. Chapter 3, shloka number 9. There Bhagavan had said, Yajñārtat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. This world is bound, karma bandhanaha ayam lokaha. This world means people. If a person does any action other than as offering, yajñārtat anyatra, then that is binding. So that person will continue life after life. But if you want to stop that transmigratory cycle, life after life, and reach our goal, which is either self-knowledge or pure devotion, then we have to do all our actions as offering, become free from attachment to karma, karma phala, action and its results. That is what he said, Madhyaji Bhava. Last instruction, Ma Namaskuru, go down to me. Seeing the presence of the Lord in all the beings, human beings and other beings, animals and plants and inanimate objects too, we should recognize the Lord's presence and treat everybody, everything with devotion, with love. So that was the instruction. If you follow these 4 instructions, Bhagavan says in verse 65, Mameva yashasi, you will reach me alone. Satyam, truly, this is the truth. Priyosime, you are very dear to me. Therefore, pratijane, te pratijane, I'm promising you that you will reach me. So that was a very important instruction, summary instruction. Then we studied in some detail this surrender. Sarva dharman parityajya, verse 66. Surrender does not mean we should do or not do any action and think God will take care of everything. I don't have to do anything. Not like that one. We have to do our required duties. After doing our required duties, fulfilling our responsibilities, then we say, I've done my best. Rest is up to you, O Lord. Whatever you will, that will happen. I will accept that one. A stage will come in a person's life when all actions cease. Even body maintenance action, Sharira Yatra, that also a person will need not do. That stage is a very high stage in spiritual development. When will that come? Either one has to reach self-knowledge or one has to have pure devotion. A jnani or a devotee who has pure devotion, they don't have any duties. They're free. When will that stage come is explained in the 3rd chapter, sloka number 17. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna had said, Yastu atmarirtireva syat atmatriptascha manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate. For such a person, there is no duty. He or she need not do anything. Duties will drop away by themselves. One does not have to give them up voluntarily. When will that happen? Just to Atmariti was. Atmariti means one who enjoys the supreme bliss of the self, Atmajnana. The joy of the self is infinite, incomparable. There is nothing in the world that comes anywhere close to that one. Unconditional, eternal, infinite bliss, Ananda. When a person reaches that, then there is no one concern about the body, whether one has eaten or not, one is wearing a cloth or not, whether it is day or night, nothing matters. Totally absorbed in the self. Either that should happen, then no more duties, nothing to be done. Or a person has to pure devotion. Pure devotion means without any attachment, without any desire or fear. Total love, unconditional love for God. Unsurpassable love for God. When that stage comes, as Narada says, when a person gets a devotion, saha yajñātva yam labdva puman matto bhavati stabdho bhavati atmarama bhavati na shochati na kaṅkshati notsahi bhavati. All these things happen when a person achieves pure devotion to God, not ordinary Vaidhi Bhakti that most people have, pure devotion as Sri Ramakrishna had. Then what happens? A person matta bhavati becomes totally inebriated, absorbed in pure devotion, not even aware of the body or world or anything. Samadhi. As Sri Ramakrishna used to go into that on a daily basis, not aware of the world, not aware of the body, nothing. Total absorption in devotion. Matta bhavati becomes inebriated. Atma rama bhavati enjoys the bliss of devotion in the self. Notsahi bhavati does not become excited about worldly things. People become excited about all kinds of things. So a new movie has come, or some new toy has come, PlayStation, Sony, something like that. People stand in line from previous night for the shop to open. So they want to be the first ones to buy. They become excited about it. Some sport event, they become excited. No, the person has only he has no concern for the world. The joy that the world offers is a pittance, nothing compared to the joy of the self or the joy of devotion. The person is absorbed in that one. Notsahi bhavati nashochati, no sadness, no grief, no unhappiness on any account. Nothing bothers that person. Total fulfillment. Na kaṅkshati, no desire. What is there? What is there in this world that can enhance one's joy of the self or of devotion? It's infinite. You can't add anything to infinity and make it bigger. If a person does not do anything, it will not take away from his joy. So when that stage is reached, all karma will drop away. No niyata karma, no prescribed duties, nothing. Total freedom. That's karma siddhi. That we can see in the lives of very few people, like the Avadhutas. There was a great Avadhuta in what is now Tamil Nadu, about 200-300 years ago, Sadashiva Brahmendra Saraswati. He had no concern about the body. Where he is sleeping, whether he is sleeping, whether he ate or not, bloody, there is cloth or not, no concern. Totally absorbed in the self. Infinite joy that nothing can surpass or even approach. At the stage, tasya karyam na vidyate, no duties, nothing. But that's a very high state. Sri Ramakrishna explains the same thing in a simpler way. On the very first page of the Gospel, first page, first chapter, page 77 in the English Gospel, when M went to Sri Ramakrishna's room for the first time with his relative Siddhu, he heard Sri Ramakrishna saying this one to the people who were assembled there. Sri Ramakrishna was saying that upon hearing the name of God, Rama or Hari, once, if a person begins to shed tears of joy and devotion, his voice chokes and his hair stands on end, then know that for such a person, no rituals, no nothing is required. No duties, no rituals are needed. Until that stage is reached, the stage of high devotion, upon hearing the name of God once, a person enjoys this thrill of devotion. His voice chokes, and his tears of devotion and joy flow copiously from his eyes, and the hair stands on end. Then no duties, no concern about the body, nothing about the world, total absorption in devotion. I saw something close to that in one person. There was a Swamiji, Apurvananda. He was Holy Mother's disciple. When he was very young, he got mantra diksha from the Holy Mother, Jaramwati. That person happened to be in Varanasi, and he was transferred from Varanasi to Bhubaneswar Ashrama as the head Swami Mahanta. And I had the rare good fortune of meeting him. Almost every week, a few times I used to go there after work. One day he was talking about the Holy Mother. And as he was talking about the Holy Mother, he showed his hand, rolled back his sleeves, hair was standing on end. We all saw that one. When he was talking about the Holy Mother, that devotion welled up in his heart. That at that stage, there is no duty. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Until then, we have to do our niyata karma. So we were told earlier in the 18th chapter that giving up niyata karma is the worst kind of vairagya, tyaga. Three kinds of tyaga it describes. Tamasic tyaga, rajasic tyaga. Tyaga means relinquishing, giving up things. And sattvic tyaga. There Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, niyatasya sannyasah karmano no papadyate. Niyatasya karmana of the required obligatory duties, sannyasa giving up, is improper, no papadyate, should not be given up. Mohattasya parityagaha, giving up required duties, saying, oh, I don't have to do anything, I am free from duties, God will take care of everything. Mohattasya parityagaha, niyata karmana parityagaha, tamasam parichakshate, tamasic should not be done. You have to do our duties. Until they drop away by themselves. It's not our decision to stop working. The duties will drop away. For people like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramana Maharshi, what duty was there? They are totally absorbed in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was totally absorbed in devotion. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. No awareness of the body. For such a person, what duty is there? Whether he ate or not, or nothing, no concern. Total absorption in the joy of devotion, infinite bliss. At that stage, no duty. Until then, we have to do our niyata karma. Everybody has some required duty. We have to do that. That is a very important message. This study in connection with verse number 66, there, Bhagavan Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya. Dharma here means karma. The commentary Shankara says. Sarvadharma means dharma, adharma both have to be transcended eventually. It's a very high state. Until then, we have to follow dharma and stop adharma. Same thing about karma. Until the stage of highest devotion, pure devotion, or self-knowledge comes, you have to keep on doing your required duties. At that stage, they drop away with themselves. Sarvadharma means good karma, bad karma, everything will drop away. Until then, we have to pursue good karma, stop doing bad karma. This can be explained in a different way been in a different way by Sri Ramakrishna. If a person, when he is walking, if a thorn enters his foot and causes pain, so he takes a second thorn. With the help of that second thorn, removes the first thorn and then throws away both the thorns. So that thorn that causes pain is adharma. If a person does not follow a dharmic way of life, virtuous life, problems will come. Suffering is inevitable. If we protect dharma, dharma protects us. If we relinquish dharma, dharma will not protect us. Dharmo rakshati rakshita, whole essence of Mahabharata. So here, adharma means doing unrighteous actions, thought and speech, adharmic things, and doing nishiddha karma. All that has to be given by performing good karma. The second thorn is the good karma. This helps us to remove the first thorn of adharma. Then eventually both will be given away. Dharma, karma, akarma, everything. A person goes beyond this domain of duality, becomes absorbed in self-knowledge or in pure devotion. So that was the instruction. Until then, we have to perform our duties. Then, after saying all these things, let us see, next instruction, final instruction Bhagavan Shri Krishna gives. This also we studied before, very briefly, verse 67. This teaching should not be given to somebody who is not qualified. A person must have eligibility to study anything, not only Vedanta or Gita, any subject in general. To take a course in an academic program, one has to have taken the required courses before that one. Then only it will make sense. In the same way, to benefit from the study of the Gita, a person must have certain qualifications. Those are described in verse 67. 67. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana yacha shushrusave vachyam yacha mam yobhyasuyati. This sacred knowledge, what Sri Krishna gave to Arjuna and what is contained in the Upanishads. Gita contains the essence of the Upanishads. All those teachings, vidante, atapaskaya, person who has not done any austerity. Atapas means austerity. A person who has not done any austerity, purified the mind, made the mind ready to receive knowledge. To such a person, this knowledge should not be given. Even if it is given, it will be waste of time. Nothing happens. Like pouring water on a rock, nothing happens. Now, abhaktaya. Abhakta means one person does not have devotion. Bhakta is a devotee. Abhakta means a person with no devotion. To such a person who has no devotion, this teaching is not to be given. He or she will not get any benefit, it will be waste of time. Kadachana. Nacha ashrushave. Shushrusha means service, loving service rendered to someone who needs it. Older people, sick people, animals, plant needing service. One has to render service to the teacher. Seva has to be done. What is the purpose? The mind becomes pure, mature, free from selfishness, narrow-mindedness. Mind becomes pure, free from all impurities. The 6 impurities we know. Then the mind is ready to benefit from the teachings of Vedanta or Gita or anything. Otherwise, if the mind is full of impurities, desires and anger and all those things, then no amount of study or teaching will have any benefit. The same thing in academic study also. A person must be well prepared and free from all distractions. Then the study will be beneficial, useful. With all the distractions going on around, person watching movie at the same time studying physics does not make any sense. Watching television and reading something does not make a sense at all. Free from all obstructions. That is, one of them is service. Service is done with devotion to the teacher, to parents, to elders, to sick people, needy people, animals. That purifies the mind. Then a person benefits from the study of Vedanta. Yatha shrushave, a person with a shrusha, one who does not do any service. For them, this teaching should not be given. Idam navachyam. Fourth qualification is nachamam yobhyasuyati. Abhyasuyati means a person who speaks ill of others, speaks ill of all these teachings. He berates them. What is all this Upanishad Bhagavad Gita? Something is written somewhere in some book. Upanishads so many thousands of years ago, somebody said something. And how can we, how is it useful now in this 21st century? Things have changed, world has changed. Is it still useful? Like that person is skeptic. Then with the skeptic mind, the teaching will not be beneficial. To such a person who does not have this pure devotion and shraddha, conviction and devotion, who is not purified his mind by doing service and austerity, to such a person, this teaching should not be given. Idam navachyam. Even if it is given, it will not make any sense. It will be sheer waste of time, nothing, unproductive. So that we studied in verse 67. Then 68, a person, and 69, a person who studies this and shares swadhyaya pravachana that we have seen before. Both have to be done. The idea of doing pravachana, sharing what you studied with others, is not necessarily to impart knowledge. You cannot impart knowledge to anybody. No teacher can impart knowledge to any student. Knowledge is already there. Infinite knowledge is hidden in everyone. What the teacher does is to create such an environment that the person discovers knowledge already hidden within him. That's all that happens in a classroom or in any teaching, learning situation. Swami Vivekananda said all infinite knowledge is hidden. Divinity is hidden in every person, every man, woman, any being, hidden. But what can happen is that hidden knowledge, divinity, becomes manifest, experienced, when the situation, environment is, the conducive environment is created. That's what happens in a teaching, learning situation. The purpose of explaining to somebody is to make our own understanding clearer. When you try to explain something to somebody, my understanding of that will become clear. That's it. Not standing on a pedestal and saying, oh, I know more about you, I'm teaching you, should not be done. That is, jnana yajna, we studied. Now, the last words of Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Then he stopped speaking. That was in verse 72, chapter 8. What does he say? How does he end this long discourse, beginning of second chapter? He says, verse 72, Kachchidetat srutam partha tvayekagreణ chetasa kachidajnana sammoha pranashtaste dhananjaya. Question. Kachit means a question begins. Has it been? Etat partha srutam. Have you heard this one carefully by you? Has it been listened to you carefully by you? Listened by you carefully. What have I said so far? Etat srutam partha. How? Ekagrena chetasa. By concentrated mind. When a person is saying something, especially in a teaching learning situation, when a teacher is saying something, the student must listen to it very carefully with a concentrated mind. If the professor is giving lecture and the students are doing some texting to somebody, that is not fruitful. With concentrated mind, we should listen to every word carefully what the teacher is saying. Has it been done? Tvaya ekagrena chetasa. By you, with a fully concentrated mind, has it been heard what I have said? Etat srutam, kachit srutam. Kachid ajnana sammoha pranashtaha. Te ajnana sammoha. Your delusion, born of ajnana, ignorance of what your duty was, what is to be done, what is the goal of life, how to reach this knowledge. Without this knowledge, the person suffers from ignorance. The knowledge of the divinity present within us all, thinking we are the body and the mind, nothing else. That is all ignorance. Because of ignorance, all suffering comes. The cycle of birth and death happens because of ignorance of our true nature. So has that ignorance born of delusion, has that delusion born of ignorance, ajnana sammoha pranashtaha kachit pranash, has it been removed? Has your mind become clear? Have all your questions been answered? Arjuna had so many questions in so many chapters. That question Sri Krishna asked. And then he stops talking. Then final word Arjuna says, last word Arjuna says to Krishna, ending the conversation, is in verse 73. There, Arjuna says, Nashto moha smritiril labdha tat prasadan mayā achyuta sitosmi gata sandehaha karishye vatanam tava. Please notice the last three words, karishye vatanam tava. Final words of Arjuna, and that's what we have to do. What does he say, Arjuna? Mohaha nashtaha. My delusion has been lost. I mean, clarity has come. The whole Gita started with Arjuna's questions. He is standing on the battlefield between the two armies, Kauravas army, Pandava army. Arjuna had this serious doubt. How to kill all these people? If we kill Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Duryodhana, all our own relatives with whom I grew up, if we win, though Kauravas had a larger army, 11 divisions, Pandavas had a smaller army. In case we win, we have to kill all of them, and the kingdom will get tainted with the blood of those people, our own relatives, cousins. How could I enjoy that one? I don't like to do that one. Or if they kill us, which is more likely because they have a larger army, then what happens? Will we die? Nothing. Either eventuality is not good. So I don't want to fight. What I should. He dropped the bow Gandiva and sits down there. My body is shaking. I'm perspiring. I can't fight. Sit down there. That's how the Gita conversation begins. Then Sri Krishna gives all these instructions. So many things. All the yogas, Karma Yoga mainly. Throughout the Gita, Karma Yoga is more emphasized than other yogas. Bhakti Yoga, Kshetra Kshetrajna, Jnana Yoga, everything he teaches. Jnana Yoga, meditation in chapter 6. Then finally, Sri Krishna says, I've given all these teachings to you. You decide, examine carefully what I have said, and decide whether you want to follow it or not. And then he concludes his teaching by saying, asking question, has everything been clearly listened to you? What I said, did you listen to them carefully with concentrated mind? Has your ignorance been removed? That was question. Then Arjuna gave the final answer after this conversation stops. Arjuna says, Nashto moha, my delusion has been cleared. Clarity has come. Smriti labdha. Smriti means remembrance, recollection, memory has come. Memory of what is my duty, who am I, where am I, what is to be done. The clarity, that memory has come. Most of the time we don't remember. We don't remember God. We don't remember our divine nature. We don't remember the things important. We only get absorbed in the things of the daily life, food and clothing and work and activity and entertainment and money. We forget the goal of life. We forget who we are, what we should do in this life. Not there. Smriti labdha. The recollection has come. Tatprasadat, by your grace, mayā achyuta, O Lord, by your grace, my delusion has been cleared, ignorance has been cleared, and I have regained recollection. And then next line, Sthitosmi, I become steady. He was very unsteady. His hands were shaking, could not even hold the bow. He sat down. That has gone. Steadiness has come. Perfectly steady now with knowledge and conviction. Gata sandehaha, my doubts have been cleared. Sandeha means doubt. Then finally he says, very, very important thing, Arjuna says to Sri Krishna, Karishye vachanam tava, I shall follow your instructions. Tava vachanam karishye, your words I do. He says, he does after examining everything. Sri Krishna said, vimṛśyaitadaśeṣeṇa, examining carefully what I have said. Then you decide, yathecchasi tathā kuru. Now Arjuna says, Karishye vasanam tava, the end of conversation. After that, no more. That's how the Gita ends. So that's what we have to do. When you study the Gita or any other book, you have to examine carefully all aspects. Very prashna, inquiring into from a subject into a subject from every angle, every perspective, thoroughly. Then we should decide what to do. That is what we should do. So Arjuna says, Sitosmi gata sandehaha karishye vachanam tava. I shall follow your words. By your grace, tvaya tatprasadat nashto moha smritir labdha. Sitosmi gata sande. All my doubts have been cleared. I shall follow your instruction. Karishye vachanam tava. That is the conclusion. Now the rest of it is 73, 6 verses, or conclusion. This whole narration of Gita, if you remember, began as a question from Dhritarashtra. In the very first sloka, first chapter, the sloka began with a question from Dhritarashtra, the king, addressed to Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra uvacha, dharma kshetre, kuru kshetre, samvetayutsavaha. That's how the Gita began. Dhritarashtra was a king who could not go to the battlefield. He was away in Hastinapur, capital. Dhritarashtra was sitting in the capital. The war was happening in the Kurukshetra battlefield, 100 miles away. But he wanted to know what was happening. So he called Sanjaya. Sanjaya, he had trust in Sanjaya. Sanjaya was his Sarathi, it seems. Dhritarashtra's Sarathi. So he asks him, my children Kauravas and Pandavas, when they assembled, Yuyutsavaha, desirous of fighting for the kingdom, when they assembled in the Kurukshetra battlefield, what happened? Kima Kurvata, what did they do? And then Sanjaya begins his narration. That's how the Gita begins in the first chapter. All the Sanjaya narrated. Sri Krishna, Arjuna asked this question, Sri Krishna answered this in this way, this what he said. That conversation between Krishna and Arjuna was narrated, whole conversation narrated by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. And then Sanjaya continues his narration. After saying, Arjuna said, Karishya Vataram Tava, now what happened? Sanjaya says. How did Sanjaya get this ability to see what was happening in the battlefield far away? Vyasa comes. And Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya what happened. Vyasa goes there and grants Divya Drishti, special vision to Sanjaya, so that he could see real time what was happening on the battlefield 100 miles away. So he saw everything that Arjuna asked, he heard everything Arjuna asked, Sri Krishna's answer, and all the army, everything assembled to fight, everything and Sanjaya could see as it was happening, and he narrated to Dhritarashtra. Now, just as Bhagavan Sri Krishna gave Divya Drishti, special vision, to see his cosmic form to Arjuna in chapter 11, because with the ordinary eyes we cannot see that one. The cosmic form means whole universe, past, present, and future is displayed in one place. How can we see with this eyes? With this eye, I can only see what is happening in this room. What's happening upstairs, I cannot see at the same time. What's happening outside the building, I cannot see. Supposing I could see all of those things, whole of Silver Spring, whole of Maryland, whole of United States and other countries, not only present, past, what happened and what's happening. How can he handle that one? I can't do that one with these eyes. So special eyes were granted by Vyasa to Sanjaya so that he could see what was happening on the battlefield and narrate it to Dhritarashtra. So then Sanjaya continues his narration, verse number 74. Sanjaya uvacha ityaham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmanah samvadimamamashrausam adbhutam romaharshanam. Sanjaya says to continues his narration to Dhritarashtra. Iti aham vasudevasya mahatmanah parthasya cha samvadam. Samvadam means conversation. Samvadam imam, this conversation, ashrausham. Ashrausham means I listened. He saw, he listened. The conversation between Arjuna and Sri Krishna from beginning to end. Ashrausham, I listened to that conversation. Samvadam, adbhutam romaharshanam samvadam. What kind of conversation? Not when people talking about something, nothing significant. When Arjuna Krishna talked, that was the most significant conversation in the whole history of mankind, we can say. So many people talk to each other all the time. But this conversation, what questions Arjuna asked, answer given by Krishna, that is the most significant conversation. Adbhutam, romaharshanam. Listening to that, one becomes, horripilation comes, one becomes thrilled. Such a great conversation between Vasudevasya Mahatmana Parthasya. Between Vasudeva, the conversation of Vasudeva, Krishna, and Mahatma Partha. Partha is called Mahatma, Arjuna is called Mahatma. Why? Mahatma means a great soul. Because it was only Arjuna that asked the question. Among all the Pandava 5 brothers and so many other Pandava people, none of them it occurred to ask the question. Duryodhana, everybody, they were all gung-ho, wanted to fight. Why are we not fighting? Bhima, everybody was impatient to start fighting. But this Arjuna alone asked the question, is it proper for me to kill all those my relatives and get the kingdom at the cost of their lives? What should I do? That is a very significant question which we should all ask. When we do something, we should ask, this what is the proper thing for me to do? The timing right? Is it appropriate action? Am I required to do it? Is it good? What are the consequences? All those things you have to consider before doing any action. That's what Arjuna did. Earlier in this chapter, Sri Krishna said, before you do any action, we have to consider 4 things. Anubandham kshayam himsam anapeksha cha paurusham mohadarabhyate karma yathecchasi. In verse number 25, in chapter 18, Bhagavan says, before we do any action, 4 things have to be thought about. Even ordinary action, without thinking, if you just do some action impulsively, the result may be, consequence may be unpredictable, undesirable. We don't know. So what are the 4 things we have to consider before doing any action? 1825. There Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Anubandham. Anubandham means consequence of my action. If I do this one, what will happen? What is the result? Present and future. In present outcome, and in the future, how it will affect me and other people, animals and plants. It may bring me pleasure and profit, but if it causes pain to other people, animals and plants, then I should think about it. Consequences should be thought about before doing the action, not after. Once you do, you can't do anything. Kshayam. Kshayam means loss. Inevitably, there is some loss of something when any action takes place. Loss of energy, loss of time, lot of resources, material, and other resources will be lost. Is still loss justifiable in view of the gain, benefit that you are bringing? That has to be considered before doing the action. Himsa. Almost all action causes some himsa, some injury, violence, pain, may cause to other beings, to other people in the workplace or family, to other animals and plants, to nature. When we walk, we can be walking on some small insect or ant. You may kill that one. Himsa is involved. When you breathe, you are taking in so many bacteria. When you drink water, we are taking so many bacteria and other microbes. So that himsa is it justifiable? Can we reduce it, minimize it? That anipekshita paurusha. Purusha means ability, competence. Do we have what it takes to complete the work, take it to a logical conclusion, or do I just begin some work with great enthusiasm and then discover that I can't finish that one? That should not happen. Without considering these 4 things, yat karma mohad arabhyate. If you begin some work out of delusion without properly thinking of these things, tamasam uchyate, this tamasic karma. So that's what Arjuna did. That's what Sri Krishna asked Arjuna to do. Consider everything carefully. Then you decide. Then after examining everything, Arjuna says, Karishya vatanam tava. My doubts have been cleared. My mind is steady. I will abide by your teachings. So Sanjaya says, by listening to this conversation, Adbhutam Maharshanam, this thrilling conversation, listening to that conversation itself is so thrilling experience. Samvadam Ashrosham, I listened to this one. Yasa, how did it happen? 75. Yasa prasadat srutavan imam guhyatamam param yogam yogeshwarat Krishna sakshat kathayata swayam. So Vyasa Prasadat, by the grace of Vyasa, who gave him Sanjaya the Divya Drashti, divine vision, so that he could see what was happening on the battlefield, Kurukshetra battlefield in real time as things were happening, narrated to Dhritarashtra. He could not go there. By the grace of Vyasa Prasadat, Imam guhyataraṃ param samvadam shrutam. I listened to this conversation. The supreme conversation of supreme importance, param, supreme importance, this conversation, not ordinary conversation, any 2 people talking about anything that is of no consequence. Most of the time it is mostly useless, waste of time. But this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, most significant, fantastic conversation, most important conversation in all mankind that I have heard by the grace of Vyasa. Guhyatamam param yogam, this divine path to reach God, from whom Yogeshwarat Krishnat, Sakshat, directly from the Lord Krishna, who is the Lord of all the yogas. All knowledge, all yogas originated from him. From himself directly, Krishna taught this to Arjuna, not through somebody else or reading in some book is second, third, and knowledge. When you read some book or newspaper, somebody reporting somebody as they saw, and somebody heard it from somebody, and that's how accurate we don't know. But here the Lord himself is the source of all knowledge, origin of all knowledge. He himself directly, sakshat kathayata himself gave instruction to Arjuna. That supreme conversation of supreme importance I have heard by the grace of Vyasa Prasada Shrutavan Sakshat Kathayasvayam. So we will stop there. We have 3 more verses and we shall conclude them next time, and we shall review for next 1 or 2 classes before we start Katha Upanishad. And if you have questions or comments, want to add something, please send it to me by email or phone call. Thank you very much. Let me see the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may all be happy. May all be free from ill health and other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble, dharmic, and auspicious. May no one be subject to any kind of suffering. Om, peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. Adi Bhautika Shanti. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Adi Daivika Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well, and God willing, we shall see you next week. Namaskar. Greetings to Sydney Zekman, Prateep Bandapadhyaya, Kamalamma, Kannan Rajamurthy, and Shrikant Iyer. Thank you very much for your greetings. Have a good week.